This is a regular scheduled meeting of the Infrastructure Committee, and committee members present are Councillor Dean, Councillor Fournier, Councillor Hawes, and Councillor Leonard. And we have the city engineer, John Terry, at the table, and we're going to start with the Master Environmental Services Agreement with Burns and McDonnell Engineering.
Okay, so Burns and McDonnell Engineering Company has been working on the coal tar contamination in Penobscot River with the city of Bangor since like 1998. This is a project that's been going on forever. Jim Ring, Ed Barrett, Norm Heitman, and Gene McLinn were all the guys involved in the early stages of it, and it's continued on. Burns and McDonnell have been providing engineering services for the coal tar remediation throughout that time. So recently, they looked at their contracts and the city signed the contract. This is from 2012. This is the last time we had a contract with them. I don't know if they changed management or whatever, but they looked at the contracts that they had with us, and City of Bangor, Kathy Conlow signed the contract in the right location. Representatives from Burns and McDonnell signed it in a different location, and I guess that provided them some heartburn. So they're asking that we redo this contract. The terms of the contract are pretty much the same from 2012. Fees, of course, increased, but the general master service agreement allows us to basically use them exclusively for this type of work since they've been involved with it for so long. There's no one else at this stage of the game that we'd want to bring in to complete this work, and they are the experts in the field. I don't know how much everyone knows about the coal tar contamination, so I don't know if you had a chance to look at this little drawing that was included. Bangor Gas Works operated a coal gas plant where Shaw's is right now from like 1850 to 1960. Byproduct of turning coal to gas is coal tar. They basically used the city's waste pipe to get rid of that coal tar and it went into the river. There's three major types of contamination zones. So the primary active zone, which is about a little over an acre. The secondary active zone, that's a little larger than that. And then the inactive zone. I don't know if anyone was around prior to this first project being done in 2010, but well, I'm sure you all were around, but.
Did you care is the question. Did you know what was that?
Did you know about it? Right. And, you know, I've seen videos of it, and before they did the first remediation project of the primary active zone at low tide, the water would actually bubble and it would have a grease slick that any boats on there would.
On hot days, yeah.
So the first job they did back in 2010 was to do kind of a unique, first of its kind cap to trap the gas into this cap, and it worked as designed. It was quite well, you know, I mean, it was like 99% of the gas bubbles that were coming up went away. And then after they got that done, then we looked at the secondary active zone. So the primary active zone is actually goopy tar on the bottom of the riverbed. And then the secondary active zone, that tar is a little harder, but it's still producing a lot of bubbles that come up with coal tar on them, you know. And then the final larger area here, the inactive zone, is basically the river floor is paved with hard tar. So there's really no any more pollution coming up, but there is tar on the bottom of the river. So the intent was originally we have a consent decree with DEP, you know, to fix this, and originally it was just we were going to cap everything, and then Burns and McDonnell came up with these different plans that had less impact environmentally and did the job. So they've done these two projects, the first one 2010, the second one 2017. They're almost done with the work, which is, you know, I would think this when I first got introduced to this project, I'm thinking this is going to be here forever. So they're asking us to redo their contract. They basically just submitted us a task order for their final services, which is $50,000, which we have that in this year's budget because we continue to have a project and fund this work. So, long story short, we'd like to keep them involved with the project. We'd like to update their master service agreement and then get an okay for them to do the final piece of work. And the final piece of work is basically coming up with reasons why we're not gonna do anything to this final area, because there's not a lot we can do. This line here is the navigational channel. So DEP wanted us to do something in the inactive zone in that navigational channel. Army Corps says, no, Bangor, you're not doing anything in the navigational channel. So we couldn't do anything even if we wanted to. So the final piece of it is, coming up with a plan to monitor what's been done, make sure that the caps stay in good condition, and really develop a plan for reporting it back to DEP. So, we're almost, I never thought we'd be nearly done with, all right, I'll leave it alone.
So there's no material change really in the agreement?
No.
If it's okay, I'll take a motion.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All right, seeing no doubt, that has passage. The second item is city.
Yeah, actually, so Debbie had kind of a laundry list of stuff she wanted me to cover with you. They're real. Yeah, it is. So at the last council meeting, a couple residents from the Lancaster Avenue came up and talked about the pond that blew out during the storm. That project is Maine Woods, being put on by Team Properties. I don't know how familiar you are with the project, but it's 30 buildings on 12 acres of property that are duplexes, so it'll be 60 units. It's located between Essex Street and Broadway. It's basically a piece of land that's surrounded by property, small 1 to 2 acre lots, but they had this giant undeveloped area, basically in their backyards for a very long time. So they're passionate about that project. And I don't blame them. I mean, if I lived on the property and had, land behind me that I never thought was going to be developed, and then all of a sudden it's going to be developed with 30 buildings and 60 units, that would, be a concern, but they're going through the planning board process. They went once, the project got appealed. They won the appeal. Basically, the court said that the planning board erred in the process. And so it's being brought back to planning board, and they are covering every little item they can on this next go around. But anyhow, so they were concerned at the end of the project, there's a wet pond near East Broadway. And they're using that wet pond as a sediment pond during the construction. They used it all summer, didn't really have an issue with it. When the project got appealed, there was a stop work order on the project, so everything had to stop. But it was an open site, so they had to do some erosion control. So they've been grading the area, trying to get the water to go to the pond. One of the pieces of work that they were supposed to do was put a formal outlet to that pond. All summer long, all they were doing was letting the water go there, and they were pumping it out when they needed to provide capacity. So when we had the 2.5 inches of rain plus the snow melt, they didn't have a formal outlet in it. And so one of the walls in the pond broke, spilled over to, headed towards the interstate, went into the ditch line of the interstate, and then eventually made it into the city system. Not a desirable outcome, but things happen in construction, and ideally, I mean, the city's been on them to do their erosion control, get that stuff done, and contractors are always trying to make the most of the season and get as much as they can done. And they were working on that with grading it to make everything work. So, but anyhow, it flooded. No permanent damage. I mean, me and Rich May went out the next day, looked at everything. There was no permanent damage. We talked to DOT. They have a project going on there, and they weren't impacted by it. So none of that, it all went towards the interstate ditch line. So I know people were saying, you know, that they got flooded out by it, but I mean, they may have been flooded by the 2.5 inches of rain that we had, but it wasn't due to that pond person. And they came the next day, they fixed everything. They put in the outlet, they rip wrapped it, you know, the pond's in decent shape. I've been keeping an eye on it with the last couple of storms that we've had, and it's fared well, so. I think it's in decent shape to go the rest of the winter, so. If anyone has any questions on that?
My only question was gonna be how it did with the last storm, so.
It did good. Okay, and then there was a bunch of traffic studies that I did. I'm just gonna go real quick on these. I don't know if you guys seen this, but this is kind of like the output that I get from our radar recorder that we put out.
Love
So I don't know if you're gonna love this.
I like the numbers and the data.
So Norway Road, you know, we kind of held off on, you know, Norway Road was terrible. And then they paved it, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm not putting the radar recorder out right after they pave it. I'm gonna wait a couple months to let things settle down. So, from October 20th to October 30th, it was put out. And the average speed, explosive speed is 25 miles an hour. The average speed was 26 miles an hour. And the 85th percentile speed was 30 miles an hour. So that's surprisingly reasonable for a brand new paved road out there. So it kind of caught me by surprise, because I did that back in 2016 as well, and the average speed was 27 miles per hour, so.
So is it near the park you read?
Right in front of the park, yeah, right between I don't remember what the end.
Right, then, Fairmont West or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. So, yeah. So I'm not really looking to do anything out there for traffic calming, because it's certainly, we have places that you could
Wish
focus
we'd
on more
done it
than
when
that.
it was full of potholes and really had a good measure of how potholes impact traffic speed.
Well, yes, that would have been, I think it would have been lower, but I was surprised that the average speed was 26 miles per hour, though.
Okay.
You know, I think that's kind of good. So if I could get everything at 26 miles per hour, on average, that would be great. The next one was Buck Street. Let me see, where did I put, I put that by Huey Street. I don't know if you guys know where that is.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so, I should actually add to, Norway Road, the amount of traffic per day was 1,245 vehicles a day, so. Buck Street, the average daily, so I did that September 6th to September 11th. And the average volume was 2,970 vehicles a day, so almost 3,000 vehicles a day. Speed again is posted at 25 miles per hour. The average speed was 32 miles per hour, and the 85th percentile speed was 37. So that's getting up there. You know, that's higher than we like to see. And the fastest speed was 79 miles an hour.
Nice.
Yeah,
So,
and I think that was. But
75 miles an hour, Sue, what were you, late past?
That was out.
well, fastest speed on Norway was 64 miles an hour, so
Wow.
you get
Does
those.
it say like what time?
This one here was actually at like 6 o'clock in the morning. So, and I'm thinking it was a motorcycle because of the size, you know, it actually tells you how long the vehicle is. So it was a short vehicle, so it had to be, you know.
We saw one of the boxes on our walks one time, and he was like, "What's that on the telephone pole?" I was like, "Oh, I can tell you."
It does a great job. It's pretty easy to set up, and I have someone drive by me. Well, I don't anymore, but when I first got it, you know, and I was like a little suspect of it, you know, I'd be like, all right, go by 20 miles an hour. Yeah, okay, not go 25. You
There
know?
are certain times of day though on Buck Street that you could almost set your watch by. The ones that are going really fast up through there. Every day.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a group.
I think they go faster coming down than going up.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah, that it's directional,
Yeah.
and it was it was about, I don't know, it's only like a mile per hour faster.
Right, yeah.
But anyhow, we should probably look at doing something to slow folks down on this roadway, and maybe that's like doing some bump outs at maybe 3rd Street, 7th Street. You know, putting the crosswalks and reducing the width. We can probably take a look at that, and maybe some signage. I don't know yet, but I'll probably bring that. That'll probably be a project that we put in the capital
Yeah.
plan, or at least in I have one of the capital lines items is just kind of like traffic improvements, and you guys fund, I don't know, $75,000 a year or whatever, and we do stuff, small projects like this to do. So that's what I'd like to take a look at. And then the other one,
Just while you're on Buck Street, not
Yeah.
a traffic question, but Is that fence that came in as us or Hollywood slots that has to take care of that fence? It's us, okay. Just curious,
Yeah,
okay.
I did see that too. Actually, and there was one on Hammond Street, that private fence.
Oh, yeah, they got
It was-
that fixed already.
I know, I was shocked how fast they got that done. All right, so the next one is Conduskeg Avenue. And this one I put down by Lee Street. And actually, back in 2021, I did a speed study on Conduskeg.
Where's Lee Street?
Just down, it's a one-way street towards the stream, just down from
Yeah,
Montgomery
yeah.
Street.
Heading up the hill. As you're-
Oh, okay. That's
It's
one,
not too far away from Harlow Street, so,
okay.
you know, I don't know, maybe quarter mile at the most.
Probably.
Is it in the tight section
Yeah,
where
Yeah.
the houses are real close?
Yeah. yeah, and that's part of the concern. So I did one in 2021, and that showed the speeds being, well, it showed the average speed, let me see, being 33 miles an hour. And then the 85th percentile speed was 37 miles per hour. Yeah, you guys know, 85th percentile, all that means is that 15% of the people are driving faster than that. And that's kind of, it used to be, that's what DOT used to set speed limits. They don't do it as much anymore because if you use it, you know, you always have people that drive 5 miles an hour faster than the speed limit. So as soon as you set it at, if you say use the 85th percentile speed here and it's 35 miles an hour, you post it at 35 miles an hour and you're gonna get people that are going 40 miles an hour. And then you do the 85th percentile speed again and it'll be, you know, it keeps on going up. So they don't do it anymore that way. But anyhow, this last time I did it, the average speed was 30 miles an hour and the 85th percentile speed was 35 miles per hour. So that's still a little higher than we like, especially in that narrow section. So that location, I'm thinking maybe we'll do like a demonstration project and I've always been a little bit leery of speed bumps. I'm not a big fan of them, but I kind of want to try it at this location in the spring. Get one like one of those plastic ones, and we're just gonna have to put up a lot of warning signs so that people aren't, you know, shooting off. But I'd like to put it out there and see what the neighborhood, how they react to it, because you know, speed bumps are noisy. You know, and you know, you'll have some people love them and some people hate them, and it's kind of like based on what we get response as well as how well it works. If it actually slows people
Those
down.
ones you're talking about, those more like the parking lots, where you're already going pretty slow, and these,
Well, I'd put it'd be something like out on, Howard Street. It'd be a speed table.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
if you put can you put permanent ones in that works, plows can plow with, or if we wanna do a.
yeah, there's designs for them and everything.
There was a guy that came to public comment about 3 months ago, that lived right near Lee Street.
Yeah,
Is there a
probably
way
the
to
guy.
do this in
That's
October?
why.
He's
Yeah,
already
can
got
we-
it.
Oh, he's already got that?
Yeah. And that's what I told him. I said I'd bring it to infrastructure and see, you know, my thought was, you know, maybe find, you know, an area of an intersection or something where there is a crosswalk, where we could put in a crosswalk and maybe put a raised crosswalk there and then, you know, see if that works. So that's what I'm planning on that. Unless you guys don't want me to.
No, I'm.
You're everyone good with that?
How many cars are going through
Let me see. 2,457. And in 2021, it was 2,217, so not much difference there. It's funny because, the fastest speed there was 62 miles per hour, and in 2021, it was 60.
Probably the same guy.
Yeah. I think that was, let me see if I.
What about, I have a question about 15th Street.
Bam, right on my list, 15th Street. Didn't happen.
I know.
It was supposed to be done, before Thanksgiving. Contractor told me he was gonna get it done before Thanksgiving. Kept on telling me I'll be there.
Specify which Thanksgiving?
Yeah. So, you know, he kept on saying, I got the guy scheduled for next Friday. Yep, yeah, okay, great. So, he was gonna try and fit it in and it was too late and I didn't want to tear things up and be
Yeah.
left with a mess. So I told him, you know, let's do it in the spring, and he's holding his price till spring, so
Good.
it'll get done in the spring. So I apologize for that, because I know that's a kind
It's a
of,
pet project.
I know,
Like,
I know.
by every foot of
and it's a
it.
good project, and as soon as it, you know, as soon as I said, all right, let's wait till spring to get it done, another car accident happened there, you
Yeah.
know? So it's still gonna happen. And then finally, thanks for staying with me. The Village Partnership Project, that's a large DOT's taking the lead on that. That's kind of like a downtown redevelopment type of project. Basically, we hired Sewell Company, to do the conceptual design, for this project. And then DOT is gonna take the conceptual design and put it out for a grant, like the RAISE grant that we got for, Broadway. So, but it's a big project and everyone seems to be behind it. I mean, we're probably $20-30 million project worth of infrastructure downtown. I mean, everything downtown is still original, a lot of it, so, it's over 125 years old, so. And there seems to be some real motivation because we did have a sidewalk with Sewell Company on the 1st of December, but, DOT had people there, FHWA had people there, Vax had people there, Bicycle Coalition of Maine was there. So, I think people are excited about it, and I think DOT thinks this is gonna be a real project, I'm a little suspect a lot of times when, and they keep on adding to it, and it's like, okay, just as, we'll see, but I think it's gonna happen, so I'm kind of excited about it.
Good. Any questions, comments? All right, thank you for the
That's all I got
update.